Two things you can buy. One of them got cheaper every year for 40 years. The other got more expensive every year for 40 years. Same country, same money, same 40 years. And here's the strange part. The one that got cheaper is the one a machine learned to make. The other one still needs a person in a room. That's the whole story. A machine takes the hours out of something, and that something gets cheap. So the question worth asking about the next 40 years is which hours it can reach, and what happens to the ones it can't. Start with a thing. This is Hal. Hal makes chairs. 40 years ago, building one chair took Hal a certain number of hours. Then somebody built a better machine, then a better one. Then the work moved into a building with 100 of them. And that's the thing about a factory. It doesn't make one chair faster, it makes 100 chairs at once. Every one of those steps did the same thing. It took hours out of the chair. And when there are fewer hours inside a thing, the thing gets cheaper. Not because anyone was generous, because the hours came out. Televisions, clothes, toys, washing machines. Same story, different object. Some of them cost less today than they did 30 years ago. Not adjusted for inflation, not in real terms, just less money. Now the other one. This is Ray. When the chair breaks, Ray is who comes. Ray kneels down, finds the problem, fixes it. 40 years ago that took an hour. Tools got better, they always do. But nobody ever turned that hour into 6 minutes. And notice what's missing. Hal's factory does 100 at once. Ray does one. One house, one chair, one person standing there while it happens. Somebody has to be in the room, and the room takes an hour. Here's the part that doesn't sound right at first. Ray didn't get any faster, so Ray's hour should cost about what it always did. It doesn't. It costs much more. And the reason isn't Ray. Over in the factory, the hours came out of the chair, and the money that used to pay for those hours didn't vanish. Some of it came to you as a cheaper chair, and some of it went into wages because the factory could finally afford them. And here's the thing people get wrong about wages. Ray isn't competing with other repairmen. Ray is competing with every job Ray could have done instead. What you get paid isn't just about what you produce, it's about what else you could have been doing. And what else Ray could have been doing kept getting better. Same job, same speed, same result. More money every decade. Until eventually, the two lines cross. When something breaks in your house now, you probably don't call anybody. Most people don't. Most people buy a new one, because the hour costs more than the object. But that only works when there's a new one to buy. Nobody replaces a burst pipe, or a roof, or a tooth. Those you can't buy your way out of. You can only pay somebody's hour. And that tells you exactly what to look for. Forget which jobs are hard. Forget which jobs are skilled. There's one line, and it runs through everything. Can the result be made once and handed to 1,000 people? Or does it have to happen again, from the start, every single time? And the clearest example of it in the whole economy is a job most people never think about. The most common job in America is not a driver or a cashier or anything in an office. It's a home care aide. Somebody who goes to a house and looks after a person who can't look after themselves. There is no work on earth harder to copy. You can't download it. You can't ship it overseas. You can't run a second copy. Somebody's hands in somebody's house, one person at a time. Impossible to copy. Impossible to ship. Impossible to scale. That should be the most expensive hour in the country. It pays about 1/3 of what a nurse makes. Both of those jobs need a body in a room. One of them takes years of school and a license before anybody lets you near it. The other one you can start in a matter of weeks. So being impossible to copy is not enough. It keeps the work alive. It doesn't decide what the work pays. Go back to why Ray's hour went up. Ray had somewhere else to go, and the person who wanted that chair fixed paid Ray directly. When Ray's price goes up, Ray keeps it. The aide has neither. Somebody else is funding the care, and the rate gets set over there, by people who will never be in the room. So there are two more things sitting on top of the copying. Who else is allowed in? That's the gate the nurse has and the aide doesn't. And who's writing the check? Hold on to those. They come back at the end. Fair question at this point. Isn't this just prices going up? Almost everything costs more than it did 40 years ago. That part is true. Inflation can make everything more expensive. But it doesn't explain why some things got cheaper while other things got much more expensive. Same 40 years, same dollars. The chair went down, the hour went up. Inflation can tell you why the numbers on your receipt got bigger. It can't tell you why one of them shrank. Something else pulled these two apart. Inflation is a tide. This is a wedge. Quick piece of honesty before we go on. Some industries have extra reasons on top of this one. Healthcare is complicated, and anybody who tells you the hours explain a whole hospital bill is selling something. But Ray has none of that. Nobody else paying, nothing complicated. And Ray's hour still got more expensive. Take everything else away, and it still happens. So step back and look at where your money actually ends up. Back after the war, most of what a household spent went on things, objects, stuff you could put in a room. Things got cheap. So things stopped taking up much of the budget. And the space they left didn't stay empty. It filled up with people. Rent, care, health, school, repair. Somebody's hours. The thing you buy once. The hours you buy every month. Which brings us to the thing you clicked on. For 40 years, the machine that took hours out of work sat in a factory. It could only reach things. What changed is that it moved. It walked out of the factory, sat down at a desk, and started doing to reports and drafts and drawings what the other machine did to chairs. Taking the hours out, 100 at once. That's the whole event. Not a new law of economics. The old one, arriving somewhere it had never been able to reach. Which means the question everybody asks is the wrong question. The question isn't whether AI will replace your job. It's which part of your job can be copied, because that part is already getting cheaper, and the rest of it isn't. If this feels like something you've heard before, you have. Twice. In 1900, about 4 in 10 working Americans farmed. By the end of the century, it was about 1 in 50. That's an entire way of living emptied out over 3 generations. And people didn't end up idle. They ended up in factories. Then the factories did it too. The share of American jobs on a factory floor peaked in the 1950s and has fallen ever since. And people didn't end up idle then either. They ended up in offices and hospitals and schools and everybody's houses fixing things. But look at where they went. Both times, people moved into work the machine hadn't reached yet. Some of that work, it reached later. The part that needs a body in a room, it still hasn't. That's the direction. Every time. One room ahead of the machine. Which leaves one honest question. If the copying has now reached the desk, the room people moved into last time, where's the next room? I'm not going to pretend I do. Anyone handing you a list of which jobs die in which year is guessing, and the list will be embarrassing in 4 years. Alright, you came here for jobs, so let's try to answer that and watch what happens when we do. A plumber? Probably fine. A nurse? Probably fine. A teacher? Depends which part of teaching you mean. A lawyer? Parts of that job are already being copied, and parts of it never will be. Notice what just happened. Every honest answer had to break the job into pieces first. Because a nurse doesn't just nurse. A teacher doesn't just teach. A plumber doesn't just fix pipes. Every job is a bundle. Some of the bundle can be copied and some of it can't, and nobody gets a clean answer at the level of a job title. So stop asking whether your job survives. Ask which parts of it do. 3 questions. They're the 3 this whole story has been handing you. First, can the result be copied? Not can a machine do your job. Can the finished thing go to 1,000 people at once, for nothing extra? A document can. A drawing can. An answer can. A body in a room cannot. Second, can somebody else walk in and do it tomorrow? That isn't about difficulty. It's about the door. Some work has a gate on it. Some has nothing. That's the gap between the aide and the nurse. Third, who is paying you? If the person receiving the work is the one writing the check, a higher price reaches you. If somebody else is paying, an insurer, an agency, a government, it doesn't have to, and you don't control that. Answer those 3 about every piece of your own work, honestly, and you know more than any list will ever tell you. One last thing, and it's the opposite of what people expect. The usual worry is that if machines copy more and more, everything collapses in price, and there's nothing left worth doing. So run that through. When something becomes copyable, it gets cheap, and it stops taking up much of your budget. That's the chair. And the space it leaves doesn't stay empty. It fills with whatever is left that can't be copied. So the more the machine can copy, the bigger the share of your money that goes to the few things it can't. The hour isn't the thing that gets cheap. The hour is what everything else gets measured against. 40 years from now, the things in your house will take up less of your money than they do today. Some of them will be close to free, and the person who comes to your door to fix it to teach your kid to sit with your mother will take more.